Alright people, I've had my Fluval Roma 200 for around 5 years now, and I think it's time for an honest review. And yeah, I've got a lot to say about the Fluval Roma 200, so let's just get started. Now first, let's talk about the tank itself. For those unfamiliar, the Roma 200 sits comfortably in the middle of the Fluval Roma family. It's not quite the small Roma 90, nor is it the massive Roma 240. Instead, it offers a sweet spot of 200 litres, which is around 52.8 gallons, which is perfect for anyone who is looking for a nice balance between manageable size and creative freedom when it comes to scaping. And you know what? That creative freedom is what makes this aquarium so appealing. It gives you a nice amount of space to create some amazing scapes. The tank itself comes with a sleek matching cabinet, eliminating the need for separate furniture hunting, which can be really annoying. And this tank also comes with a light, heater and filter. And this all-in-one approach is a big win for convenience, especially for beginners. Now let's talk about some positives and negatives with this aquarium. And let's start off with the positives. And the first thing I want to talk about is the size. You see, the 200 litres provides an amazing space for a vibrant fish community. You can comfortably house a decent amount of fish in a 200 litre aquarium, depending on their size and their bioload. And of course, this allows you to create a diverse and thriving underwater world. I mean, for example, if we take this aquarium right here, by the way, this is a 110 litre aquarium. If I decided to put in some, let's say 20 cardinal tetras in there, it will already pretty much be filled up. Whereas with the 200 litre, you can fit in that group of tetras, and then you can put in some bottom feeders and maybe even a showpiece fish like an angelfish or something. So yeah, having that extra size really makes a difference. And if it's your first aquarium, I would highly recommend going for a bigger aquarium rather than a smaller one, because if you do fall in love with that hobby, you're going to run out of space very quickly. Now I kind of touched on this next part a bit earlier, but another really positive thing about the Fluval Roma 200 is the amount of space you get for creative freedom. Whether you're a seasonal aquascaper or just starting out, the Roma 200 offers a perfect canvas for your creativity, and you really have enough space to really let your creativity go. You can use rocks, you can use woods, you can use a variety of plants and still have a big swimming space. I mean, once again, with this aquarium here, I really like the scape and it looks really nice, but a lot of the scape takes up a lot of the swimming space, and the actual open swimming space is only in this side of the aquarium. But yeah, rocks, wood and a variety of plants can all be incorporated to create a stunning underwater masterpiece. Alright, now let's shift to some of the more negative things about this aquarium, and there's not that much, but it's definitely something you want to think about if you're thinking of buying a Roma 200. And I guess the first thing we should talk about is the equipment. Now keep in mind, I bought my Roma 200 in 2019, so the light it came with back then is not the same light it comes with now, but I guess I'll still mention it quickly. When I bought the Roma 200, the light it came with was not the best. I mean, don't get me wrong, the light's done an amazing job with growing the plants, but you literally had no control over the light, and it really wasn't ideal for those who wanted to cultivate a thriving underwater jungle. So yeah, that led me to buy an Aqua Sky 2.0, and honestly it was one of the best decisions ever, because you can control the light with your phone, you can set it on a schedule, and there's so many things you can do there. I actually need to do an update on my Aqua Sky, so keep an eye out for that, because I've got a lot to say about that light as well. But yeah, it's not really a problem anymore, because apparently the new Fluval Roma 200s do come with an Aqua Sky. So if you choose to buy a Fluval Roma 200 today, brand new, you should get an Aqua Sky light, so that should not affect you at all. However, if you're someone who's looking at buying a second-hand Fluval Roma 200, or if you've already bought one years ago and you're really tired of that light, I would highly recommend upgrading to an Aqua Sky 2.0. But yeah, that was only a small negative. However, there is one area with the Fluval Roma 200 that has a definite problem, and that is the filter. You see, the Fluval Roma 200 comes with a U4 internal filter, and don't get me wrong, the U4 filter is a great filter, it's strong and it does a great job, but it's not ideal for a Fluval Roma 200, and I'll tell you why. You see, the U4 does a great job in a very basic aquarium. So an aquarium that has a few fish, maybe one piece of driftwood and a small cave, the U4 will do a perfectly fine job in that aquarium. However, if you're planning to heavily scape your aquarium like I did and use loads of hardscape and plants to make it this natural environment, yeah, I'm not gonna lie, the U4 is not strong enough. The aquarium is just too big, and if you have it heavily scaped, it creates a lot of dead spots. I mean, if you go back to my very first videos before I upgraded to a canister filter, yeah, you can see the water quality in my tanks. It was not good, people. Honestly, it was kind of embarrassing. But yeah, like I just mentioned, I did end up upgrading it to a Fluval 307 canister filter, and it made such a big difference. People, the water literally went from super cloudy to crystal clear within like 2 days. It was honestly amazing. It made such a huge difference. But unfortunately, that also brings us to another minor problem I had with the Roma 200. You see, with the canister filters, if you're not aware, it has 2 tubes that come into the aquarium. And yeah, with the Roma 200, with those pipes coming in, the lid will no longer close. Like, I literally had to cut a hole into the lid so I could make space for the canister filter input and output. You don't get that problem with the Roma 240 because the Roma 240 literally has the input and output built in that goes through the bottom into the cabinet, which makes it much more convenient. And honestly, I really wish that Fluval gave us that option with the Roma 200. But yeah, they don't. If you do want to have a canister filter on your Roma 200, you are going to have it coming through the outside, and if you're doing that, you will have to cut a hole in your lid, which can be very annoying. But yeah, this brings us to the last thing I want to talk about, and that's the question of, is the Roma 200 the right tank for you? The reason I say that is because naturally I bought the Roma 200 and I enjoyed it so much for so many years. But eventually I did run out of space and I ended up upgrading to the Roma 240. Now I'm in a bit of a unique situation because I'm literally trying to build a career with the aquarium hobby. So it wasn't the end of the world me having 2 massive aquariums. But if you're someone who only wants one big aquarium and you're looking at the Roma 200, really think about whether you might want to go for the Roma 240 instead. That extra space gives you so much more space for scaping and additional fish, and it already comes with the canister filter, which kind of covers the extra cost that you would pay for the bigger aquarium. Because keep in mind, even though you're paying less with the Roma 200, once you start doing all of the upgrades and that, you might end up paying similar amounts or just like 100 away. So yeah, really think about that, people. If you're going to go for the 200, just see whether the 240 is a viable option for you. If you have the space, you might as well go for that and you may thank yourself later. But yeah, in conclusion, the Fluval Roma 200 remains a great aquarium, especially with the upgraded lighting in the newer models. Just factor in a potential filter upgrade for a heavily scaped setup, and just remember, if it's very likely that you're going to want a bigger aquarium in the future, you might as well go for the Roma 240 now instead of buying 2 aquariums in the long run. And if you want to see the day I set up my Fluval Roma 240, then click right here.